because we're all trying to gauge the interest in owners of alleviating themselves of shares in this expiration, do you get the sense that they want to sell, or are shares so underwater that they're going to hang on?
Yeah, it's been kind of mixed. There's a lot of employees I've been talking to that are basically all sweating right now. I was getting these messages last night, and one of the sites that they use to sell Uber shares, to sell their shares, was having trouble staying up, right? And that was, the company. Wow. I know the company was sending out notes saying, look, we're looking into the technical problems. We think it's not the volume, but it's, everyone's sort of refreshing their page and not able to get in there and do it. So there's a lot of people nervous. That said, the stock is just not where most people wanted it to be when they were imagining an Uber, a newly public Uber 6 months out and ready to sell their shares. So I think there's a number of folks that are going to be holding on just because anyone past 2015 or 16 is really not seeing, any sort of gains on that.
Yeah, Paul, Foundation Capital is an early investor in Uber. When you see shares trading below $27, at IPO'd at 45, what's your sense of this? What's your take?
Well, if I look more broadly, if I skip kind of Foundation, as an individual investor from that perspective, I think Mike's, his observation is correct in terms of what he's likely to hear from inside. I think there are really kind of broadly speaking two classes of folks out there. There are people that got in, very early, in which case, the current stock price is still, a very hefty premium from then. And then there are folks that got in anywhere, from the last few years from that perspective. And so, I think that, when you're involved in these kind of stocks, I've probably been exposed to 1,000 IPOs now over the last 30 years in some form or another. And you either get one of two phenomena that happen. You get a kind of a behavior that goes down toward the lockup because there's this pressure, because there's going to be selling. And then you get sort of like this V-shaped sort of recovery that occurs over time. Sometimes it's a very broad V, sometimes it's a pretty sharp V. And then other times it's, people lose faith in the company doesn't execute, and they continue to lose value over time. We don't know where this stock or any other stock is going to go, but very often what happens in these situations is people look back and they think, gee, why did I get so pessimistic about the company? It's still a very good company, generating a lot of revenue and generally doing what they said they were going to do.
Dramatic shift in the thesis around Uber, the argument for it. I'm trying to remember the last time I saw something like this. And maybe it's just a coincidence in a way that you've got this lockup happening, expiring now, and you've got SoftBank reporting these terrible earnings. But so many of the people who are at Uber running that business, the employees, joined it under this premise of world domination and growth. How is this shift in what the whole story is about going to affect those employees and the way Uber operates?
I think it's going to affect not just Uber, but it's going to affect more broadly across.
That's from Mike Isaac.
Yeah. Oh, sorry about that. Sorry, guys. I couldn't hear the opening. So go ahead.
Yeah. No, my bad. I couldn't hear it either. I think Paul's totally right, and there are definitely different classes of folks that got in, and anyone who got in super early is sort of riding high no matter what the stock price is right now. But I do think that it's an open question as to what the future of Uber looks like, and are they going to start paring back on the sectors that they were going into, right? Like as soon as Dara joined, it's been 2 years now. They started selling off different parts of the business, and this idea that they're going to take on or even beat Amazon is starting to fade for long-time employees there. And I think there's really like a split internally on how people view it, right? There's the old crowd who was really partial to TK, Travis Kalanick, and this idea that we're going to take over. And then there's a newer crowd who are more sold on the idea that, look, we're going to be a platform, we're going to sort of do what Dara is saying and be what I think the line is, your OS for everyday life. And maybe that works, but we'll see.